The heads of the European Commission and European Council are hosting a summit with US President Joe Biden to discuss issues including climate change, health, trade and geopolitical challenges. The two sides are likely to pledge to remove tariffs related to a steel and aluminium trade war, to remove export restrictions on COVID-19 vaccines and boost manufacturing capacity in the developing world. For more, we cross to our correspondent in Brussels, Lucy Hough. Good afternoon, Lucy. Perhaps let's get into the events of the day. Has the meeting taken place between the two sides?
It is due to start in the next hour or so, and we have got very tight security currently here in Brussels with the arrival of President Biden at the building of the European Council. A number of issues, as you mentioned there, on the agenda. The response to the COVID-19 pandemic, notably lifting export restrictions of COVID-19 vaccines, the possibility that the IP waiver proposed by South Africa and India will be raised. We know that President Biden supports such a waiver, but there is resistance. Here in Europe, there'll be talk about China as part of discussions about foreign policy, the agreement that there should be an independent probe into the origins of COVID-19 with full transparency. There will also be, as you say, likely a formal announcement of a deal we understand has been made this morning, ending that 17-year-old trade dispute over airline subsidies between the United States and the European Union. EU officials have been working overnight here in Brussels, negotiating with EU member states. We understand that a truce for 5 years has been agreed. So we are likely to see a formal announcement of that at the press conference after this meeting, but the meeting due to start shortly and a busy agenda ahead.
I'm curious, Lucy, to know the kind of reception President Biden has received so far, because I can imagine it's a different mood compared to his predecessor's reception.
A very different mood, and that's something we saw over the course of the G7 summit in the southwest of England, in Cornwall. Over the weekend, a very different reception in NATO. We just heard President Biden speaking there, saying that America is back, that it's back in the room as a trusted ally, someone who believes in multilateralism. But you know, there are still some areas of disagreement. Joe Biden would like, for instance, the European Union to take out a harder line on China than perhaps some here in Europe are willing to do, given the importance of the EU-China trading relationship. There are also some areas of disagreement in other areas. I mean, of course, these trade disputes that I was just outlining, there has been tough negotiations to get to this point, to get to that truce of 5 years, and to really end the Trump era where we saw those trade disputes really inflame. There will be some tricky discussions about ending, as you mentioned, the disputes on steel tariffs that were imposed under President Trump. I mean, certainly that both sides want to enter a new era of EU-US trading relationships, and that will be the key message in the press conference after this meeting. But still some areas where we could see some trickier conversations.
During the press briefing, President Biden on Sunday mentioned that he's only been in office, I think it was 120 days on Sunday, when he was questioned about what he would do with those EU trade tariffs. Are you getting an indication from those you're speaking to on the ground that a deal might be struck soon at some point?
What we understand is that a deal has been struck when it comes to the Airbus-Boeing dispute. As I say, that's been running for nearly 2 decades, a 17-year-old dispute. And the solution that's been found on that is a 5-year truce that would see the prevention of any subsidies in the development of airlines over the course of the next 5 years. And that's a dispute that was thrashed out overnight on Monday inside the European European Commission just behind me and negotiated with member states such as Germany, France and Spain this morning in relation to the tariffs imposed under President Trump worth billions of dollars that has been a source of real contention for the European Union. We do understand that there is real urgency bringing those tariffs to an end today. It's sending an important message that the trade war, the escalating trade conflict with the US under the leadership of US President Trump has really come to an end, and this marks a new era in terms of transatlantic ties. We're yet to hear whether an announcement, a deal has been made on that yet, but we will learn more, of course, in the aftermath of this afternoon's meeting.
All right, Lucy, thank you so much for your time. That is Lucy Hough talking to us about the EU-US summit that is taking place in Brussels.